Hey there! If you're new here, welcome. You're about to hear some of the wildest, most unhinged relationship stories people rarely talk about out loud. We're diving into lies, betrayals, creepy obsessions, and emotional twists you won't believe are real. So grab a snack, get comfortable, and if you're listening while playing Minecraft or winding down for the night, just know you're not alone. If you like these kinds of stories, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment if you've ever been in a situation that felt too crazy to explain. Alright, let's get into it. This first story is wild. Imagine breaking up with someone and thinking it's over, but instead of closure, you get a court date. Yeah, this one starts off kind of sad and ends in a legal mess that still makes me laugh and cringe every time I think about it. We were together for nearly 2 years. The kind of relationship that felt safe, predictable. We had a routine: Friday night takeout, Saturday brunch, movie nights with the same 3 streaming apps. She talked about getting a dog. I talked about maybe moving in. But somewhere along the way the spark dimmed, and I realized I wasn't happy anymore. So I did the hard thing. I sat her down, told her I didn't think we were right for each other, tried to end things gently. I expected tears, maybe some yelling, at least a dramatic "I gave you everything" moment. What I didn't expect was to get served papers 3 weeks later. She filed a small claims lawsuit for emotional distress. That was the actual wording. I thought it was a joke at first. I laughed until I realized it was very real and had a court date attached. Her claim, that I led her on, said things I didn't mean, made promises I didn't keep. She even brought printed screenshots, texts from months ago, where I said things like, "I love you more than anything. We're gonna grow old together." Out of context, those texts made me sound like a manipulative heartbreaker. In reality, I meant them. At the time, her argument: she quit her job, delayed grad school applications, because she believed we were starting a life together. I was flawed. My lawyer was flawed. Even the judge looked like she wanted to ask, "Are we being punked?" But the worst part, she won. Apparently, in my state, if you can prove someone's words caused measurable life disruption, it can be considered a civil harm. After the hearing, she smiled at me, right outside the courthouse, and said, "Next time, don't make promises you can't keep." I didn't even respond. What could I say? I'd just lost a breakup and $900. Now, I keep every message short, sweet, non-committal. If anyone asks why I don't open up quickly in relationships, I just say, I've been sued before, and I lost. Story 2. The girl who said I was her soulmate until her wedding invite arrived. You ever think you've found the one? The person who looks at you like you're magic, talks to you like you're home, and makes you believe love can actually be simple, and then, out of nowhere, they vanish. Not just from your life, but from your reality entirely. Yeah, this story still leaves a scar. She called me her soulmate, said she hadn't felt that alive in years, said things like, "You're not just a chapter, you're the whole story." And I believed her. For 6 months, we were inseparable. Movie nights, midnight drives, coffee shop mornings, and late night FaceTimes, just to say goodnight again. She met my mum. She talked about meeting my little brother. She helped me pick out birthday gifts for my niece. It felt like we were building something. Not fast, but real. She told me she'd been through a rough engagement before. Said I made her believe in love again. Said she wanted to take it slow, but build it strong. I was patient. I let her lead. I let her set the pace, because I thought we were headed somewhere worth going. Then came the shift. Her texts slowed. Our weekends started getting too busy. Calls went unanswered. Affection turned into formality. I thought she was going through something personal. Maybe work stress, maybe family stuff. I didn't want to be overbearing. I gave her space until one afternoon I opened my mailbox and found an envelope. Cream cardstock, gold foil, tied with a ribbon. Inside was a wedding invitation. Her wedding invitation. She was marrying someone else. In 3 weeks. I thought it had to be a joke, a mistake, some kind of wrong address, but it wasn't. Her name was printed in calligraphy, next to a man's name I had never heard before. The venue was 2 cities away. I stood in my kitchen, holding that invite like it might catch fire. Straight to voicemail. Tried texting. No reply. 3 days later, she sent one message, just one. I didn't know how to tell you. I needed a break from him, and you were that break. That was it. That was all she gave me. I was a distraction, a reset, a temporary fantasy before she returned to the reality she'd already committed to. All those moments, the I love this version of me when I'm with you, the spontaneous kisses, the tears during deep talks, all of it, it wasn't love. It was a layover. I didn't go to the wedding. Of course not. But I kept the invitation. Not because I miss her, but because I needed the reminder that not everyone who calls you soulmate is ready to be one. It still sits in my drawer, along with the sticky note she left on my bathroom mirror. You make the world feel like it's finally the right size. That note used to make me smile. Now it just makes me smarter. Story 3. She faked a pregnancy and then ghosted me. Some people will say anything to keep a relationship alive, but when lies turn into full-blown life events, you start to question everything you thought was real. This story? It started with love and ended with one of the wildest betrayals I've ever experienced. We'd been dating for just over a year. Things felt serious but good. She had a quirky sense of humour, loved vintage horror movies, and said I was the first guy who actually made her feel safe. We weren't rushing anything. No when are we moving in talks. No pressure. Just comfortable, steady, solid. But then she started getting emotional out of nowhere. She'd cry during movies that weren't even sad, get quiet after dinner. Sometimes she'd stare off like something was haunting her. I asked what was wrong. She said nothing, just hormones. She was being unusually affectionate, buying me little gifts, leaving handwritten notes on my windshield at work, saying things like, I'm so glad we're building a life together. One night she sat me down and said, I'm late. I think I'm pregnant. My heart dropped. Not because I didn't care, but because it was a huge shift. We'd never talked about kids. I didn't even know if I was ready. But I said the right things. I'm here for you. We'll figure this out together. Whatever happens, I've got you. She smiled, and I swear for a moment it felt like we'd crossed some invisible threshold. We weren't just dating anymore. We were in it. For the next couple weeks, she acted like a completely different person. She was glowing, giddy, almost floating. She'd text me baby name ideas at midnight, send me links to tiny socks and cute nursery photos. I told my brother, I told my best friend, even started researching cribs and daycare prices. But something didn't feel right. She never let me come with her to the doctor. Always said it's just a quick checkup, or I don't want you to waste a whole afternoon at a clinic. At first I trusted her, but then I asked for an ultrasound photo. She said it was too early. I asked again a week later. She snapped, said I was being controlling and ruining the moment. That night I called her and said, I need to know this is real. I want to be involved. She hung up. No text. No callback. The next morning, blocked. On everything. Instagram, Twitter, phone, gone. Vanished. Like the past year didn't happen. I tried calling from a friend's number. She answered. And when I asked what was going on, she said, there is no baby. I just needed to know you wouldn't leave. I didn't even know what to say. I just sat there in silence. She added, it felt like you were drifting. I thought if we had something bigger to hold on to. Then she hung up. That was the last time we spoke. For weeks I replayed it in my head. The fake tears, the cravings, the lists of baby names she claimed were her favourite since childhood. All of it manufactured to keep me around. It broke something in me. Not just trust, but that fundamental belief that love is supposed to feel safe. Now, I second-guess people's intentions. I hesitate when someone shares something vulnerable. I wonder, is this real, or are they just trying to trap me in a fantasy I didn't sign up for? People talk about heartbreak. They rarely talk about deception. But I swear, deception lingers way longer, because when love ends, you grieve. But when lies end, you question who you are and how you didn't see it coming. Story 4. My ex tried to steal my identity after we broke up. Some breakups are messy. Some are heartbreaking. But this one? This one made me question everything I knew about the person I used to love. Because it didn't end with a blocked number or a final text. It ended with credit card fraud, stolen mail, and the feeling that I'd dated a complete stranger. We were together for a year and a half. She was sweet, supportive, the kind of girlfriend who'd surprise me with my favourite snacks, remember obscure facts about my childhood, and leave sticky notes with encouraging messages on my laptop before work. We didn't fight often, but when we did, she always made sure I was the one apologising. At the time, I thought I just wasn't good at expressing myself. Looking back, she was manipulating the entire dynamic from day one. The breakup happened when I got a new job offer in another city. I asked her to come with me. She said she couldn't leave her roots, said if I really loved her I'd stay. We argued, we cried, we ended it. Or so I thought. I moved out, changed my address, started fresh. 3 weeks into my new job, I noticed a weird charge on my credit card, a purchase at a boutique in our old city. I hadn't been there since the move. At first, I thought it was fraud. I called the bank, froze the card. A week later, a utility bill came in my name. Not at my new place, at hers. That's when I knew. Something wasn't right. I called her. She answered like nothing was wrong. Why are you using my name for bills and purchases? Her. Oh, relax. I just didn't want to go through the hassle of changing everything. Me, you're committing fraud. Her tone flipped immediately. Suddenly, I was the bad guy. She said I abandoned her, that I owed her for the time I wasted, that using my name was her way of getting back what she deserved. I contacted the companies, filed reports, had to show proof I didn't live there anymore, even had to get a lawyer to send her a cease and desist. She still denied everything, told mutual friends I was paranoid and bitter, even tried to paint me as the one stalking her. It didn't stop there. One day I applied for a new credit card, got denied. Turns out someone had applied for multiple cards using my info. Same birthday, same social security number. Guess who had access to all that? Yeah, her. That's when it hit me. She hadn't just loved me, she'd studied me, collected me like a file, and when I walked away, she used that file like a weapon. Eventually I got everything cleared, but the emotional damage, that stuck. I started double-checking locks, shredding mail, waking up in cold sweats thinking I saw her name pop up on my phone. She never got arrested, never faced consequences beyond the cease and desist, because technically nothing huge was stolen, but she stole something far worse than money. She stole my sense of safety. Now when I date, I don't just look for red flags, I look for silence, the gaps between what someone says and what they don't, because monsters don't always come with warning signs. They come with love notes and smiles and promises that they'll never hurt you. Story 5. My fiancé's dead ex showed up at our engagement party. When someone tells you their ex passed away, you don't ask too many questions. You offer condolences. You hold them when they cry. You believe them. But what do you do when that same ex shows up in a red dress at your engagement party? Because this isn't a ghost story. This is a story about lies, betrayal, and the moment I realized my relationship was built on fiction. We'd been together for 2 years. He was charming, old-school romantic. The kind of guy who'd bring flowers for no reason and open every door like we were living in a rom-com. He told me early on that his last relationship ended in tragedy. His ex Samantha died in a car accident. He said it with misty eyes, described how she was the one that got away. At first I was worried he wasn't ready to move on, but over time he assured me I made him feel alive again. It was flattering, honestly, like I was healing someone. The months passed. He proposed under a canopy of fairy lights in his backyard. I said yes, crying. It felt like the most real thing I'd ever experienced. We planned an engagement party, rented a beautiful rooftop space. Our families flew in, friends dressed to the nines. Then she walked in, a tall woman in a red dress, hair curled, eyes locked on him. He froze, like he'd seen a ghost. My mum asked, "Who's that?" I didn't know. Not yet, but I was about to. She walked straight up to us, ignored me, looked him in the eye and said, "So this is how I find out." Everyone fell silent. He stuttered. Samantha, my stomach dropped, because I'd heard that name before, the dead ex. I pulled him aside, demanded answers. He said she'd disappeared, that she cut him off and refused to talk, that he thought she must have died, because no one had heard from her. No obituary, no funeral, no confirmation, just assumption. Turns out, she had moved states after their breakup, blocked him, ghosted everyone they knew in common. She had left because he was controlling, manipulative, and constantly lying about stupid things. She said she felt like she was suffocating, that she faked a new identity just to get away, and somehow, instead of telling the truth, he decided it was easier to say she was dead. I stood there in my engagement dress, ring on my finger, family behind me, and realized I had no idea who I was marrying. I called off the engagement the next morning, gave back the ring, moved out. He begged, said it was a misunderstanding, that he really thought she was gone, but who lies about death to gain sympathy? The worst part, he had told my family about her too, painted himself as a grieving man, got their sympathy, wove it into our love story. It wasn't just a lie, it was a foundation of lies that made everything else feel hollow. Samantha and I talked once after that. She apologized for the drama, but said she felt vindicated seeing me walk away. She said, he plays the victim, but it always starts the same. Sweet, charming, then possessive, then dishonest. I still flinch when someone brings up engagement parties. Not because of the breakup, but because I know now how far people will go to hide who they really are. Story 6. My girlfriend had a secret husband, and I was the affair. Some relationships don't end with a breakup. They end with a confession, one that punches you in the gut and leaves your entire reality shattered. This story, it's not about being cheated on. It's about realizing I was the other man, the whole time. We met at a bookstore. She was in the classics section, thumbing through Pride and Prejudice. Made some sarcastic comment about Mr. Darcy being overrated. I laughed. She smiled. That was it. A whirlwind romance started from a single shared joke. She was electric, the kind of person who made every moment feel cinematic. We dated for 10 months. She stayed at my place most weekends, sent me playlists, left her toothbrush next to mine. I was falling in love fast and hard, but she was also private, no social media, wouldn't let me tag her in photos, always said, I'm just not online like that. She never invited me to her apartment, always came to mine, said her roommate was weird about guests. Sometimes she'd disappear for a weekend, say she was with family, but I never met them. I chalked it up to boundaries. Everyone has their pace, right? Then one night we were at dinner. Her phone buzzed. She flipped it over quickly, but I caught the name. Ben, husband. My heart stopped. I tried to play it cool. Waited until we got back to my apartment. Then I asked, who's Ben? She froze. No smile. No lie prepared. Just silence. Finally she said, you weren't supposed to see that. Turns out, Ben was real. Her husband of 6 years. They weren't separated, weren't in an open marriage. They lived together, shared a house, a mortgage. He travelled for work, and during those trips, she lived a second life with me. I was a secret, a character in her escape fantasy. She told me it started as boredom, said Ben was too predictable, that she wanted to feel alive again. And I was her spark, her reset button. I couldn't believe it. 10 months of memories, weekends, dinners, birthdays, suddenly rewritten as fiction. I asked why she didn't just leave him. She said, it's complicated. That was all I got. I ended it immediately, blocked her, deleted everything, but I couldn't delete the feeling that I had been part of someone else's betrayal, that I had unknowingly hurt another person. Ben, a man I'd never met, but now couldn't stop thinking about. A few weeks later, I got an email. It was from her, no subject line. She wrote, he found out. I told him everything. We're in counselling. I'm sorry you got caught in this. No apology for the lie, just a heads up that her real life was falling apart. I never responded, but I still think about it. Not about her, about me. How easily I believed everything. How little I questioned the red flags. I wasn't just betrayed, I was used. And the worst part, I didn't even know I was in the wrong story until the final chapter. Story 7. My ex moved across the country just to spy on me. Some people don't handle breakups well. They text too much, show up uninvited, maybe post passive-aggressive quotes online. But my ex? She took it to a new level. She moved 2,000 miles just to live in my neighbourhood, and I didn't even know for 3 months. We dated in college, senior year. I was ready to settle down. She was spontaneous, chaotic, passionate. It was fire and gasoline. We broke up right after graduation. She wanted to travel the world, and I wanted a stable job with benefits. We stayed friendly for a bit, occasional texts, birthday wishes. Then it tapered off, or so I thought. Fast forward 2 years. I'm living in Seattle. New apartment, new job, new girlfriend, Emily. Life is finally calm. Then one day I see a familiar name pop up on my Venmo. Lindsay paid you $1. Coffee. I hadn't spoken to her in forever. Weird but harmless. I didn't reply. A week later, she DMs me on Instagram. Says she just moved to Seattle on a whim. Wants to catch up. I ignore it. Emily sees the message and asks who she is. I explain. We laugh it off. But then, weird things start happening. One morning, Emily and I go to our favourite bagel shop, and guess who's sitting outside? Lindsay, with a book. Like it's a coincidence. She waves, says, I live around the corner now. Okay. Another time, we're walking our dog, and she passes us, jogging. Twice in 1 week. Still, maybe it's bad luck. Big city. Small neighbourhoods, right? Then Emily notices something. Hey, that woman's at our gym. I look. It's Lindsay. On a treadmill. She's joined our gym. The exact location we go to. 15 minutes from downtown. Not even close to where she said she lived. That night I check her Instagram stories. There are photos taken from our block. One is literally of the sushi spot under our apartment. I confront her, ask why she's showing up everywhere. She plays dumb, says she just likes the area, that she hasn't been stalking. Right. Then Emily gets a DM from an anonymous account. You should ask your boyfriend about his past. Creepy. No profile picture, no followers, but the grammar, the emojis, it screams Lindsay. We block it. Change privacy settings. Emily's freaked out. I finally lose it and call Lindsay. Tell her to back off, that this is harassment. She cries, says she just wanted closure, that she missed who we were. Closure doesn't look like spying. It doesn't look like intimidation. It looks like obsession. Emily and I moved 2 months later. New building, unlisted address, different side of town. I haven't seen Lindsay since, but to this day I always check my surroundings, at coffee shops, at the gym, even online, because breakups can hurt, but obsession, that lingers. Story 9. She faked being pregnant, just to keep me. Some people will do anything to save a relationship. Begging, promises, therapy. But then there are the people who take it way too far. What do you do when someone fakes the most intimate, life-changing experience just to trap you? This story still messes with my head, because for 3 months I genuinely believed I was about to become a father. We had been together a little over a year. We fought, sure, but I thought that was just part of being passionate. She always said, we're intense because we care. That made sense at first, but over time the arguments got worse, more manipulative, more guilt-tripping. I started to pull back, told her I needed space, maybe even a break. That's when everything changed. She came over one night, quiet and pale, sat on my couch and handed me a small gift bag. Inside, a pregnancy test. Positive. I stared at it, heart pounding, trying to process what it meant. She didn't say much, just watched me. Eventually she whispered, I'm scared too, but I want to do this together. I was 26, not ready, but I told her I'd be there, no matter what. From that moment on, everything became about the baby. She started sending me baby name lists, nursery inspiration, articles about prenatal vitamins. She even asked if she could move in for stability. I agreed. It felt like the right thing to do, but something felt off. She never went to doctor's appointments, said she didn't like clinics, wouldn't show me ultrasound pictures, kept saying she'd get one next time. She refused to let me come with her, always had an excuse. Work, COVID restrictions. The doctor said it's better to go alone. I started to feel uneasy. One night she left her phone unlocked on the kitchen counter. Not snooping, just needed to check the time, but a notification popped up from her group chat with friends. It was a meme about pretending to be pregnant to stop your man from leaving. My stomach turned. I scrolled up, and there it was. Girl, he's totally buying it. You better fake a miscarriage soon, or he's going to expect a baby. Screenshots, jokes, a full plan. I told her to pack her stuff and leave. Blocked her on everything, changed my locks. I was stunned for weeks. Do you know how insane it is to go from imagining fatherhood to realizing it was all fake? The mental whiplash? Devastating. My mum cried when I told her the truth. She had already bought baby clothes. It's been over a year now. I'm dating again. Still cautious, still building trust, but I've learned something important. If someone has to manipulate you to stay, they were never really with you in the first place. Story 10. My online girlfriend wasn't real, but the person behind her was even worse. Most of us have made friends online. Some of us have even fallen in love that way. But what happens when the person you've trusted, shared secrets with, planned a future with, turns out not to exist at all? This story isn't just about being catfished. It's about what happens when the person behind the screen refuses to let go. It started during lockdown. Lonely, bored, scrolling Reddit and Discord servers looking for someone to talk to. That's where I met Lena. She was funny, quick-witted, obsessed with indie horror games and true crime podcasts, basically my perfect match. We messaged daily, voice chatted, she never video called, but always had a believable excuse. Bad Wi-Fi, broken camera, shy. I didn't push. Honestly, I didn't care. It felt real. For 8 months, we were a digital couple. Good morning texts, late night convos, plans to meet someday. She said she lived 2 states away. We even set a tentative visit for the summer. But as that date got closer, things got weirder. She'd randomly go silent, then come back with dramatic stories. My mum collapsed. I got in a car wreck. My ex broke into my house. I'd comfort her, stay up with her on the phone, talk her through panic attacks. But one day something slipped. She mentioned her sister's graduation, but she'd previously said she was an only child. When I asked, she got cagey, said it was complicated. That night, I reverse searched a selfie she'd sent me weeks earlier. It came up on a model's Instagram with 100k followers. My stomach sank. I confronted her. She denied it, said someone had stolen her photos. But when I kept pressing, she finally confessed. Her name wasn't Lena. She didn't live 2 states away. She was a guy from my own city. Let that sink in. He had followed me on social media for months, saw I was into true crime, noticed what I liked, then created the Lena persona just to get close to me. I was horrified, blocked him everywhere, deleted my accounts, tried to move on, but it didn't stop there. He showed up to my job, once as a customer, another time just watching from across the parking lot. I got chills seeing him. He never approached, just stared. I filed a report, changed my number, told security at work. Eventually it faded, but I still don't trust people online, and I triple check every photo now. It's one thing to be lied to, it's another to be studied, crafted into someone's fantasy. He didn't just break my heart, he broke my sense of safety. And to this day, I can't listen to true crime podcast without wondering if someone's listening to mine, making notes. And that's it for tonight's lineup. If you made it this far, thank you for spending time here. These stories aren't just drama, they're snapshots of how messy, twisted, and strangely relatable people can be. If any part made you gasp, laugh, or just say what the hell, go ahead and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. Got a crazy story of your own? Drop it in the comments. You never know, it might end up in the next episode. And if you're just here to relax or fall asleep, sweet dreams, stay safe, and remember, not every red flag is obvious until it's too late. Subscribe for more stories every week. See you in the next one.